Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for a radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, joining us through our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, there have been a lot of changes in our lives over the past couple of years, especially when it comes to the way that we are buying and selling. And we definitely have noticed a convergence of online and in-person transactions, even here in the Magnolia State, but also around the country and around the world. How can businesses make the most of this new normal and be able to take care of their customers and use technology to be able to better do that as we're heading into 2022? We're excited to welcome Greg Goldfarb to our program today. Greg is the Vice President of Commerce Products for GoDaddy. He's going to share with you guys some great tips and things to keep in mind as we're heading into the new year. Also, if you guys are not staying connected with what's going on with GoDaddy, we're going to let you guys know you can do that as well. Greg, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
This is such an important topic, Greg, because I think especially for the small business owners out there, how have you seen that they've had to adapt over the past couple of years?
Yeah, there have really been a couple things across multiple categories that are driven by how customers have changed their behavior. The first one is the evolution toward what we think of as the blended shopping experience, where part of what customers are doing is online and part of it is in person, and this is across the same transaction cycle. And so that's been a big change. You talked about, you mentioned the word convergence. That is exactly what's happening, and the tools for small businesses to do it are more and more accessible. And so things like scheduled in-store pickup and things like that have become more and more the norm as one. The second is that consumers are shifting very rapidly to what we think of as touchless or contactless payments, where more and more they're relying on their phones and using things like Apple Pay or Google Pay or using the camera to scan QR codes, and they're interacting and paying that way as opposed to pulling the credit card out of their wallet or using cash. And so that's a second big overarching theme.
Greg, to that point, I mean, that really then puts it on the small business owners to me, and I've definitely seen it here in Mississippi, and I've heard it from our audience in other states, to really make sure that they're up on the time. So how do small business owners then use this technology that is available to make sure that they're best prepared, especially going into the new year?
Yeah, it's exactly along those lines. It is the time to lean into technology so that you're ready to grow and thrive going forward and capitalize on opportunities in front of you. And so a first thing is make sure that not only you have a website or e-commerce site, but that it's an online store that's seamlessly connected to how you operate in person. And the modern digital commerce platforms totally enable that and make it easy out of box to do that. And the second thing we're seeing is increasingly small businesses are updating and upgrading their point of sale that are connected online and that are designed to support things like Apple Pay and QR codes out of box. You don't need to go get separate integrations or find another provider. And so those are two places to start in thinking about how you can leverage technology to thrive in 2022 and beyond.
Greg, a lot of people, myself included, have really leaned heavily on social media to stay connected with their audiences, as well as, of course, those that we are working with. When it comes to small businesses, I mean, what have you been seeing or suggesting when it comes to how they can be able to use those social media platforms in their business?
It's a combination of thinking about where on social is going to be the best fit for your business, as well as, importantly, how you use social and how you use different aspects of social, because the social media platforms have also evolved quite a bit through the pandemic. And so where, for small businesses, the reality is there are more social media channels and opportunities out there than a typical small business can really take advantage of without spending every hour, every waking hour on it. And so we recommend really think about two social media platforms that really are the most relevant to your category, where, obviously if you have an audience on a starting point, leverage that first. But think about, hey, is your product or service something where video really helps? Then gravitate towards something like YouTube or TikTok. If you're doing something where pictures really tell the story, Instagram is going to be a great fit, or Pinterest is going to be a great fit. All the social platforms are talking about e-commerce in one way or another. The thing is, they all do it differently. And then you layer on top of that other social-related things like Etsy and Google Shopping or Amazon, and it can get really complicated very quickly because they all do work differently. And so the thing to do if you're selling is try to find a commerce platform that actually has these embedded connections and demystifies how you can make the most of the ones that are the best fit for you.
Yeah, and I think too, looking at those, at the larger companies and what they're doing. Of course, we don't have their manpower or budgets, Greg, but how can we be able to look at some of these larger companies and businesses and learn from them and what we're doing?
Yeah, it's important to keep an eye on how the big brands are changing, because they've also changed a ton through COVID, and they do tend to set the overall consumer expectation in the mix. And so even if you look at a couple examples to call out, like McDonald's has done actually a lot of work in this category, and they've changed how they operate to really enable this blended shopping experience. They've gotten very organized around curbside pickup. They also have done things like install connected tablets in store. And so even when you go in, you're actually doing quite a bit online as part of shopping, and consumers are starting to see this more and more. And so that's one. The other thing we're seeing is this idea of kind of the virtual try-on experience. Warby Parker is an eyeglass company that does a great job at this. It's worth checking out, where you can actually use your mobile phone to try on different glasses before you buy them, and then you also can go in store. We're seeing on the whole things like free shipping, things like the ability to schedule pickup, a focus on a handful, like I mentioned, of just hero products to tell your story, and relevant promotions, whether it's a first-time buyer or a repeat buyer, really tuning the promotion to the nature of your relationship with the customer, things that are really worth paying attention to.
A lot of great information, whether we're talking about the small businesses that are already up and running or those that are looking to get started into the new year. Some great tips for them to be able to keep in mind. Again, everyone, Greg Goldfarb has been our guest, the Vice President of Commerce Products for GoDaddy, sharing some great tips for small businesses today. Greg, where can our audience go for more information?
Yeah, there's lots of information online. One of the things is it's sometimes hard to get a fully up-to-date, cohesive picture. We try and do a good job at that at GoDaddy.com. So that's a great place to check out. It's just GoDaddy.com. There's a great blog there, and then we've got all sorts of products and tools to help you with modernizing your business so you can grow.
Well, great. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate the valuable information, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you're more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.